Hello, Wastelanders and Adventurers. I'm Caedo Genesis. This is the PIPCAST 3000 episode 65. We talk about gaming news and Fallout and have a dedicated Fallout topic most times. Bi-weekly podcast every other Sunday, 10 a.m. Pacific. These are my co-hosts, BADCompanySarge.
Hi.
And Jared of
Hello.
Jared Gaming.
Oh, I was too early. Sorry. Hello.
Can you sound less thrilled, Sarge?
Oh, hi. Is that better?
Yeah.
Should I get rid of recording voice entirely?
Well
Just go
done.
back to
But there's the hire this man.
Why hire me for that? That makes no sense.
Well, come up with any particular reason.
He's the,
Okay, so go ahead, Jared.
it's not important. I was going to say he'll be the new hero voice actor. That's the main character. Yay! I made
This
it.
is literally
I
just my
survived.
voice right now. This is my actual voice. Normally I have to hype it up for YouTube and put on this voice. You got to hear the real one for a second. But it's gone now. It's never coming back.
Oh, we can do either one. I don't care. Being the showrunner doesn't care too much today. I'm gonna let you know, everybody listening, that I'm not at 100%. I am definitely more like 50 to 60%. The rest of the crew here also happens to be not running it full, so please bear with us. I am currently dealing with chronic pain and don't like it at all. It's been like 3 days where my shoulder has just been constantly hurting. Haven't been gaming much at all as a result, or using my mouse or doing anything with my right arm, and now I'm getting back to the practice of being a lefty for the sake of doing anything, because I want the inflammation to go down, and it's not changed much yet. So we'll keep people posted on my Twitter, I'm sure. I've been off and on complaining and giving updates there, but it's biceps tendonitis. It's just a problem with me not using ergonomics and stuff like that. So that leads into the tip of the day. Ergonomics are important, if especially if you work at a desk a lot, like all three of us do.
Yeah.
So doctor, when I went to see him yesterday, recommended a vertical mouse, which was something I had not really thought on too much, but I'm gonna give it a shot, because that's apparently an really ergonomic way to do things with a mouse. Very interesting.
Interesting. I had to just look that up. I was like vertical mouse,
Yeah.
like it's on the
It's
wall.
not something you think about.
Not quite.
Or it's like, yeah, or you're like holding it straight up in the air.
But now seeing it, I've definitely seen it before.
Anyway, just want to let the viewers know, or listeners know that it's gonna be kind of that kind of episode. I don't even know what I'm gonna do about editing the audio. It's gonna be slow going, or I'm gonna have to not care as much about how much I say or and just let it go.
Yeah. lots of it.
Comment to the cast. Which of you wants to take that one? Also, leave a comment if you want to be comment to the cast.
Yes, I could do it.
Do it.
Comment of the cast by Marquis Raid. Is that how you say that, perhaps? I don't know. Marquise or Marquise. Read, ride. Definitely apologize for saying that wrong. But your comment, I can say perfectly. Hey, man. Thanks for the Steelyard video you made 7 years ago. Started playing Fallout 3, and you helped me out tremendously.
That is a good video. It's very good. I sort of used it back when I was streaming Fallout 3, because getting all of the ingots is a
Wasn't
right
that long
pain.
ago?
Yeah.
Yeah. It was like last month.
Yes. It's last month. And that video was probably the first video of yours I ever saw.
Yeah. I'm glad, Marquise, that you have gotten use out of it, along with many others. I think I've said before, probably not too long ago, actually, that it's one of the guides I'm most proud of in how I produced it, where it does, like, literally nothing needs to be changed besides, like, back when I decided to change the thumbnail to be something more legible.
Yeah.
But besides that, like, the video itself, the guide itself is solid. I don't think I could do any better, unless I went, like, the extra mile to use, like, the local area maps and stuff like that. But even so, like, the way I described it, I think is better than trying to use local maps anyway.
Yeah.
So
many local maps suck, and at some point I'm gonna rant about it. I might add that in as a future Fallout topic.
You should add it right now, actually, because they got worse as the games went on. Like, progressively worse. Fallout 4's is trash. Should this be the first rant?
No, future rant, whatever.
Okay.
Something for people to
All right.
subscribe for and stick around.
Okay. I don't know if I have rant energy for the first news topic though.
We'll be ranting about this. So, the thing we're apparently going to be ranting about is the Steam Deck, which is Valve's handheld computer console.
Yes.
Whatever you want to call it. It's a PC you can hold in your hands that can play any Steam game and it'll be perfect, and it's going to be really cheap and there's going to be no issues with it.
Yes. And the fact that, like many handhelds that exist, the thumbsticks and buttons are integrated into the handheld itself. So if anything goes wrong with that side of things, then you might have to take the whole thing apart.
Yay.
And I don't know which is the lesser of two evils here, because, you know, Nintendo and the Switch, like, they can charge whatever they want for more controllers, or the whatever the stupid Wii controllers.
Joy-Cons?
Maybe the Joy-Cons, yes, thank you. They always have to make up their own terms for stuff too. But I kind of wonder if the Steam Deck might do something similar, like might have external controller setups.
Well, from my understanding, you can plug in a mouse and keyboard to it. I mean, if that counts, it's not like an accessibility thing like with the Switch where the things can come off. But yeah, from my understanding, the Steam Deck will allow you to plug into a TV. You'll be able to plug in a mouse and keyboard. I imagine you'd be able to plug in a traditional controller if you wanted to. If they don't include that, then they're stupid. But because why would you include everything else but not a controller? I get it that it is a controller in of itself, but
thinking about it now, it does make a lot more sense. I should probably also just read more about the specs. You know, like somebody who knows what they're talking about.
Oh, Caedo.
Thank you for the backup, Jared.
That's all I know, though. Oh, thanks, man. That's about all I know, unfortunately, because I haven't really personally looked into it other than that.
Yeah. And the way I understand it is it's going to be, instead of, I mean, streaming might be a possibility too, but it's going to primarily have focus on actually downloading the games and playing them on system. So people in like Sarge's case, who live in rural areas where internet is garbage, you can actually play games on it. After waiting, a couple of days for them to download.
Oh yeah, you get the Steam Deck, you turn it on, you leave it plugged in for a full week to download your games, and then you can start playing it.
I'll take patience for downloading over absolutely garbage internet connection trying to stream. Play local play, my jam.
Could you take
games?
I was just about to call it the Switch. Can you take the Steam Deck to like a pub where the internet is good? You can have a pint, download whatever you want.
The internet is not good at the pubs around here.
Dang it, man!
It's just not good in general.
I'm trying here, man. I'm sorry.
Imagine like your post-apocalyptic village out in the middle of nowhere style thing, and then change nothing about it because that's where I live. That's how the internet is.
Yeah, it's. I think it's fairly easy a little bit easier to compare to where, like, I lived before I moved here, which was the town my parents were in. The best internet they would have would be like DSL. And then trying to make that wireless obviously could make it worse.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's probably a lot closer to that kind of situation, I'm guessing. Where and the only options you have is like something bad and something worse when it comes to internet providers too, because not very many work in rural areas or
it's
areas.
Literally like a infra thing, you know.
Infrastructure.
Yeah, it turns out I can't say that word. It's something you overlap, but yeah, that's the problem. That's the fundamental problem. So it can't be fixed.
Gotcha. Unless they run like fiber.
Yeah,
everywhere.
I think we're expecting that in like 4 or 5 years.
There you go.
And if I'm still here in 4 or 5 years, that'll be the least of my worries.
Well, I hope you get a chance to move before then.
Oh, me too.
Looking forward to that high speed internet, among other things.
Oh, yes.
I'm sure. But yeah, I want to talk about the marketing, the decision on the term for the Steam Deck, because I'm sure they were being clever here. That Stream Deck is very close to Steam Deck as a term. And when it comes to search terms and also typos, you could probably stumble across the Steam Deck pretty easy if you're looking for, I don't know, anything streaming peripheral related as well. So I think that's pretty clever on their part. I have a feeling it was intentional.
It may well have been.
Yeah, I think that's really about it on that. There was not much ranting.
I will say that I feel like it's an interesting idea, and it'll be interesting to see how they execute it, and if it turns out to be as great as it seems like it should be. And my initial reaction to the Steam Deck was kind of like the Switch. Like, I have a Switch, I never use it.
Yeah.
Not because I don't like it. I just am not a big like handheld. Like, I'm a PC gamer. I'm used to having all that. So for the low price, I think the cheapest version is supposed to be like, what is it, $3.99 or $4.99 for the cheapest?
I think it's
probably $3.99 for you lot, because it's £349.
Okay.
Probably $399.
Yeah.
$3.99 for the 64 gig. That's enough for one game.
I was gonna say most games are like
game.
That's why I was really surprised to hear that it wasn't going to be a streaming situation, because like most games these days are like 20-40 gigs, some more.
Well, there's some which are over 100 gigs.
Yeah,
I was gonna say it's going to have. I'm pretty sure it's going to have an SD card slot as well.
Yeah, a micro SD card slot.
Yeah, for extended storage. So like that's what you're gonna want to go for. Like buy alongside it even.
Absolutely.
Probably.
Yeah. Or you can spend an extra couple of £100 or probably a few $100 for the 512 gigabyte one, which also has a carrying case and possibly better glass and a profile bundle for your Steam account, because that's something people care about, right?
Totally.
Oh, my Steam points.
Yeah. You gotta have that Steam banner looking good. Gotta post all your socials. I'm gonna say it. People who use Steam as like their main social media are wrong-uns, and I don't trust them. I've seen it, and I hate now that when you click on Steam and go on a game, it has like that whole, the community feature thing. I hate it. I want it to be way lower down. I'm okay with it existing, but I don't want to see it.
Okay.
Bugs me. Sorry.
I dig that.
You know what I would like as a change to the community features?
What?
Making guides, the guide section, more easily accessible, and maybe add some features to that. Perhaps the ability to use, I think, something besides BB code to post literally anything that you're trying to post in a guide. That's just a rant on the guide creators side of things.
I have no experience there, but I will agree with you, my friend.
It's basically like you need a converter or to manually input things if you're putting up a table of any kind. And the last big guide that I did, that I made sure to put on Steam as well, because, you know, Legend of Mana is on Steam. There's a lot of technical junk in the guide that I wanted to put in tables. I had to go to an external site, which thankfully somebody else posted in the same community, to convert my spreadsheet into like legible tables. Yeah, like it feels so archaic when you go into the like create guide section for Steam. I just want that to be better, and I actually got kind of fed up with it too, so I just took like screen captures of the tables and stuff that I made on my Google Doc, and then like added those as images instead.
Yeah, that was my immediate thought when I heard you talking about this.
Oh yeah,
I'd do if I was ever in that case.
Yeah, that was the eventual solution. I would have much preferred like the info to be, you know, something that people could, like, if they needed to, they could copy it over to something else or whatever. But I suppose they can copy the image too. Like, I don't know. It just, a lot of the time for me, copying text is a lot easier. Weirdly enough. But yeah, Steam Deck might be interesting. Definitely seems like it has a direction more than Stadia. So that's good.
It's true.
Like it's designed for PC gamers, or people that want to play PC games without the hardware commitment. Actual audience or consumer base. It's kind of the same thing.
Yeah.
So the world is changing. You know what else is changing? What other worlds are changing? Sarge?
Is it Fallout Worlds?
Yep. I'm really trying, man.
That might be my least favorite segue.
Oh, good, it only goes down. Today, specifically.
Yeah. Alright, so Fallout 76 is having a long-awaited update arriving in September, which is Fallout Worlds, which are basically your own customizable private servers.
Wow.
So, yeah, right now you can have just a standard private adventure world, which is just the same, but only having your friends join, or like
same
solo.
but better.
Oh,
sorry, the same but currently better because people are crashing servers in public all the time.
Yeah, actually, that is a bit. I've not been on 76 since the update. I've been like, oh no, what? Everyone's crashing the servers. Oh yeah, I'll play something else.
Yeah, Patreon of ours, Eric, was actually gracious enough to let me join his private world for like, I think it was like last week or something like that. Just getting some of the daily stuff out of the way so I get that power armor display from the scoreboard without just crashing or freezing up constantly.
Yeah. 76 is a nightmare right now because the Dupers are back! Yay!
Yeah. I saw one post that was like, it seems like the servers are stable more, but I'll only put so much stock into that.
Yeah. Like, you can end up in a server where people aren't duping. It's 100% possible.
Yes,
but if you end up in a server where people are duping, there's gonna be issues.
Yep. It's impossible to play.
Yay!
Yeah.
Yes. Now, here's the thing. Duping obviously crashes the servers and causes tons of problems. Fallout Worlds is like, oh hey, you can customize your own world with a bunch of settings for camp building. You can make it like fully relaxed camp building placement, meaning you can put your camp wherever you want. You can have the height limit go miles more. You can have everything always powered. You can have a huge amount of budget and stuff. Are the worlds just going to crash all the time? Because surely everyone's just going to set these things to max, especially at the start. Which makes me think, like, what I've not been able to find in the article we've got, which is linked in the description as all of them are, is I can't find them saying what the limit on players is. Because on private worlds, it's limited to 8 people, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Unless they changed that at some point.
I think it's 8.
Yeah.
I mean, I've never had a private world of my own, so.
Yeah. But, I mean, if Fallout Worlds, it limits, like, a one you're building based on the things, then yeah, you can probably make it work. But they've also got public worlds, which is going to be like a rotating thing where Bethesda have created a bunch of their own different modes, and on the little image it actually says, Fallout Worlds Quantum World, limited time, max 24 players. So for that one they've got a maximum of 24 players. I'm hoping that they put a limit on the number of players based on the restrictions you do. Because if they just make it, like, completely open, I can see it very easily becoming a case of people crashing their own private worlds, getting very annoyed, and the entire project just gets abandoned quickly by people who don't realise that building 5 million toilets in a camp is going to be a problem.
Yeah, custom worlds is the... Wait. What was the world of the day or world of the month, whatever?
It's an image that shows off most of the information.
Oh, okay.
It's in the just above the Public Worlds for All section, where it says, Public Worlds are a rotating series of Fallout World experiences available to all players, handcrafted by the team at Bethesda Game Studios with input from Fallout 76 community. I don't
know how Roblox works, but I'm getting that kind of vibe.
Yeah.
Man.
But also, like, Fortnite has had limited time modes for a long time, and I feel like there's some pages being taken from those things. Let me copy your homework kind of situation.
I mean, the rotating game mode thing has become more and more popular, and it's been around for a very long time. So it's not too much of a surprise. Here's the thing: I think that actually the I'm
just thinking, like, of the creative nature that Fallout 76 and those other games have. Because Fortnite does have its creative mode too, where you can access basically anything that's been used, and make your own stuff, and other people's maps have been used for limited time modes, which is pretty cool.
I do think that the public worlds, with them being rotating sets of things, is a very good idea, especially from the content creation side of things.
Yes.
Because I know that 76, as someone who was a full-time 76 coverage channel for a while, I know that it's got harder and harder and harder as time has gone on to keep making coverage of it, which is why there's, well, one of the reasons why there's fewer and fewer pure 76 channels out there, and the ones that are still around have slowed down on content creation a fair bit.
Yeah.
Because, sure, when there's an update, there's several different guides, you can do some live streams, you can do various bits and bobs. Then when people start duping again, you can rant about that, or tell people how to dupe if you decide to go down that path.
Oh my god. Don't start me down this path, Sarge.
It's fine. I'm keeping talking, I'm carrying talking. Okay. But having these limited time rotating series of events things should give people, or content creators, something to regularly talk about in the game, which gets some more hype for the game, which informs people about it. I was complaining about this back during survival mode, when they had the weekly weapons. That was a really good thing, which I asked for Bethesda to bring back, because it created regular content and kept some interest in the game. Online, the interest for the game is not particularly high most of the time, except for when a big update comes around. Bethesda have needed to add in something that kind of adds a little bit of positive news towards 76 at regular intervals, and this could be it.
Yep. It's very unfortunate that Steel Rain was a bit overshadowed or quickly covered up by the duping crashing.
Yeah.
Because Steel Rain itself is good.
Yeah. There was a solid week where people could just get on, play the update, have fun with it.
Yeah.
And I'm glad I used that week effectively.
Yeah, me too. Because trying to play afterwards was terrible.
Yeah.
I actually tried to play recently.
How'd it go?
Believe it or not.
You tried?
I tried. Yeah. I don't know what was going on. Like, I was trying to like move my mouse down and it would stop halfway for some reason. And I couldn't figure out what was impeding like my mouse. Like, so I couldn't for example, I would open up the menu and I could not move my mouse down past like the main options. Like I couldn't get to settings or anything. Like it would just stop. Something was impeding it. I'm like, this game broke, and I uninstalled it.
Haven't you run into that before? Like it's like it thinks the mouse is on a smaller monitor than it is or something?
Yeah, I've had that in Fallout 4, I believe, but never in 76.
Yeah,
I'm pretty sure that's something I had from alt-tabbing out of Fallout 4. But
Yeah.
76 does have very good borderless window mode, so I've always used that for the game. Which I think has stopped that issue occurring for me within 76 at least.
Yeah. And we know it's a fun situation to troubleshoot with a game like 76.
Yeah.
Not everything works for everybody. That's for darn sure. It sounds like you're already done with it though, Jared, so...
I mean, I was just looking for something to play recently, and I was like, I like Fallout. Like, it's always been one of my favorite games.
And you had to pick a Bethesda game.
Yeah. So I was like, you know what? I'll give it a shot. I'll play on my own if I have to. You know, like, but I want to get into it and like experience some of the quests and some of the stories and stuff, and then no. It said no. So
yeah,
it's okay. I'll try again sometime.
Well, dag nabbit.
So close though.
Yeah. I wonder like if, I mean, not many people are playing Nuclear Winter at this point, obviously, because of it getting, canned in what, September, October?
Yeah, September. I'm pretty sure it's coming with the update for Worlds.
Yeah. So like that server space is just going to be like switched over to Fallout Worlds, I'm assuming.
Yep.
Okay. Well, we'll see how it goes. I'm looking forward to seeing like what they do with their public worlds, and also how character instancing is going to work, because obviously you're not going to be able to use and progress your adventure character, your adventure characters in Fallout Worlds where everything can be like adjusted and stuff like that. At least that's what I'm assuming.
Yeah.
They've got on one of the images like, oh, no progression for this. And yeah, I'm guessing that you'll be able to bring your character in, but when you go back to kind of adventure
they're gonna
mode,
have the
your
same
character will be the same as when you left them there.
Yeah. But that also makes it difficult to incentivize too, because like all of our investment is in the characters that we've created.
You'd still be able to use the character you've created. You just wouldn't be able to get like score and challenges and pick up extra ammo and stuff.
Oh yeah,
like,
I'm just wondering.
You won't be able to use it for getting more XP and getting extra plans and all of that stuff.
I'm just wondering if people like, play it for the first little while and then realize, hey, I'm not really gaining much, then it might just die off. Like probably worse than Nuclear Winter, because Nuclear Winter actually had stuff that you could carry over to adventure mode. Maybe they'll somehow do that in Worlds as well, but I don't have a solution.
I think the key part will be that it needs to be fun.
Yeah.
And that's really going to be the make and break for it, because either it's fun and people enjoy playing it, so play it for the purpose of enjoying it rather than trying to unlock new stuff, or it's not fun, and because they're not unlocking stuff, it's not the standard 76 grind that has benefits for things you can unlock in a game you're not enjoying, which a lot of people genuinely do, and then it will fail. But yeah, if it's fun, people will enjoy it.
Let me see if I'm understanding this correctly. Fun is important in a video game.
Yes! I genuinely have to shout this at people in my comment section quite often. If you're not enjoying a game, don't play it. Play something else. And so many people do not understand that. Oh, idiots. All of you listening, I've decided. I'm just going to assume all of you think that way. You almost certainly don't. It's very few people, but I'm just going to make a broad assumption. All of you are fools.
I'll take that title today.
Same.
I'm having so much fun. I love that when you said that in the which was it, Jared? The was it the Vermintide? No, it might have been the Monster Hunter streams.
Probably Monster Hunter.
I can tell you're just getting progressively more irritated. I'm having fun.
I'm having so much fun. Yeah, that sounds about right. That's
it was fun at different levels.
I'm gonna say it still was fun because I enjoyed playing with you guys. Like that was fun. But the game itself, it's just like it. One of the reasons I never played Monster Hunter previous to that is the exact reasons that were annoying me when I was playing it.
Yeah.
So
and the experiences are vastly different between playing co-op versus playing solo or playing with randoms even. So
I tried playing solo one time to try to I'm gonna learn my character, I'm gonna learn my class, I'm gonna go no.
Yeah.
No. Didn't work out for me so well.
Yeah.
To be fair, I did learn a little bit more about being a archer? Hunter?
Yes.
What do they call it? I can't remember now.
You were a bow user. So
that's the right word. Bow.
The archer still counts, like you can say.
Yeah, I was trying to think of the official, what the game calls it. But whatever. I did learn a little bit, but yeah, I didn't solo play for very long. Anyways.
Yeah.
Having fun!
It's
that was so much fun.
It's not like Eddie. For anybody who doesn't know, I have highlights up on my channel of our shenanigans during the weekend streams that we did a few times, playing Monster Hunter as well as Vermintide and Borderlands 1 and 2.
Yep.
Was that it?
I think so.
Yep.
Basically, we played through all of those games.
Yeah. We beat them all.
The whole thing.
Amazing. Never died, never failed, all stuck together throughout all of it.
That's right.
They're, dare I say, the perfect streams. But just in case you don't have the time to watch entire stream VODs, I have the highlights on my channel, and the stream VODs are on Sarge's channel.
Yes, from my past live streams playlist. Good luck finding them!
Yep. you need to go to the playlist. YouTube, please add an auto ad again.
Yeah, auto ad would be lovely.
Why? Why did it go away?
I don't know.
Okay. Anyway, you want to talk about the not so good Activision Blizzard stuff, Sarge?
Yeah, we've had enough fun. Let's get sad for a little bit.
Yes.
So, Activision Blizzard, the company that clearly everyone loves and isn't constantly engaged in several different issues constantly all the time.
They don't understand why we don't have phones.
Yeah, it's crazy. Why don't we all just have phones and also accept all their terrible real-life behavior as well as the stuff they do within video games?
Yep.
So, Activision Blizzard is being sued by California, yes, the California, over its pervasive frat boy workplace culture. is the little quote they're using there. I'm not going to touch on too much of the heavy stuff. The article is in the description if you want to read it. Content warnings and trigger warnings, or whatever they're called these days, for the kind of stuff you'll assume from the more PG-13 talking about it that I'll be doing. But yes, female employees at Activision Blizzard have been treated very badly in a lot of different ways. And the frat boy workplace culture, quote, is probably everything you imagine it to be. And, yeah. Apparently, if you're working at Activision Blizzard and you happen to be female, life's just worse for you, unfortunately, because the company's bad. But yeah, there's some things I can mention are female employees being held back from promotions because of the possibility that they could become pregnant, being criticised for picking up children, and being kicked out of rooms specifically for them to do a certain thing, just so meetings could take place there instead. Are the few that they've got on there. And there's a lot of heavier stuff too, which, yeah, I'm not even gonna continue listing examples. The basic long and short of it is, it's really bad for them.
Yeah.
And yeah, the harassment sounds constant. There's been some serious consequences come about because of it, and I can't even mention them. So yes, Activision Blizzard deserves all the criticisms it's had so far.
Yep. A lot of WoW players are also boycotting Blizzard Activision by ending their subscriptions, as well as just protesting in general, like on servers, and overloading servers in the process, because there is a workaround to make all players show up in city hubs. Because how I understand it is, in World of Warcraft you have like only so many characters you can load in at a time in city hubs without like tanking anybody's hardware.
Yeah.
But the workaround they have for that is by just setting up massive raid groups, because raids can hit upwards of 40 people. I think this is primarily in like the WoW Classic servers, because in the newer WoW content, like, they don't have 40-man raids, I don't think. But WoW Classic they do. So they have people like intentionally setting up these raid groups just so everybody is visible, because that guarantees visibility, I think.
Yeah.
Again, from what I understand, players are pretty PO'd about just everything, which is good. I'm hoping it stays consistent at least for a little longer than a week. As well as it was a former employee that has an NPC named after him who actually left the company or was fired. I think he left voluntarily, but he was one of the main sources, one of the sources of a lot of these problems. And he has a lot of things in the game named after him, including NPCs. At least one NPC. So a lot of players are like really irritated at that aspect as well, that he should be removed from the game entirely, because he represents just gross, horrible behavior.
Yeah. Well, Activision Blizzard has done a lot of bad stuff. Not every company in the industry is as bad as them, which is not difficult, but also very good. In fact, Bungie came out and specifically like condemned Activision Blizzard and put a full statement out. I'm not going to read all of it, it will be linked as well. But it starts off with Bungie is built on empowering our people no matter who they are, where they are from, or how they identify. And it is our responsibility to ensure this type of behaviour is not tolerated at Bungie at any level, and that we never excuse it or sweep it under the rug. and saying that they have a zero-tolerance policy for environments that support this toxic culture, and we are committed to rooting them out to defend those who are at risk. And they do even acknowledge as well, they say, we don't pretend that Bungie is perfect, and that no one has experienced harassment while working here, but we will not tolerate it and will confront it head-on, and we will continue to do the work every day to be better. Honestly, it's a very good statement from Bungie. It's not just, hey, we're perfect, and that company sucks, aren't we, the best? It's very much a case of, yeah, they've done really bad stuff, this stuff can happen, but we want to make it very public that if anything like that happens here, tell us, we want to fix it, because no one should have to deal with this.
It should be worth mentioning, too, that Bungie was under Activision Blizzard for a while as well.
Yeah,
and
started
they
in
aren't
2010.
anymore.
Yeah,
Good for them.
it was a 10-year contract, which they cut a year early. Oh, I wonder why that was.
Which makes this hit a little bit harder.
Yeah.
So, good on Bungie. I hope they continue to follow through with their statement. I mean, it's still corporate statement. So,
Right.
I can only expect so much. Especially when I'm cynical Caedo today. So
Well, gotta remember, I think it was last PIPCAST we talked about Bungie closed its offices because it was too hot.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
So this is like maybe the second thing that seems like, hey, Bungie's nuts, not so bad.
They have 2 points now.
Yeah, maybe they got at least 2 points.
Yeah, there does tend to be a trend with companies that treat their employees well and companies that treat their employees badly.
Yeah.
It's very rare that you have just one isolated instant of, oh, this company's done this really good thing for their employees, or oh, this company's done a bad thing with their employees. It tends to be story after story after story. Just how these reputations get built up. And it's one of the reasons as well that I like covering Bethesda-based games. Because even when there's gameplay-based problems, they seem to be like one of the least problematic in the market when it comes to this kind of stuff. Employees genuinely seem pretty happy. Even people from within Bethesda who have spoken somewhat about it, doesn't really get like huge public discussions or stuff, but it seems like they're all happy. It seems like people there look after each other. Like, it genuinely seems like a good working environment.
Good.
Yeah.
And I hope that all appearances so far on that front are true.
Yes.
Yeah.
Likewise. There was something I was gonna mention, but I lost it. Oh, yeah. So if anything morally can be taken from this story, both the Bungie one and the Activision Blizzard one, if you work in a corporate environment and you see something that is clearly harassment, frickin' call it out. It doesn't matter who you are. Like, it just make it known that you know that is not okay. Because it's one of those things you cannot be passive about. Cannot. Don't get complacent. Don't just watch it happen. Say literally anything to draw attention to this not being okay. That's all I want to say. That's my soapbox.
Agreed.
Battlefield Portal. What is that? What is that now? Who's pissed? Are you pissed, Sarge?
So we're switching up. I'm not pissed. There's only a few channels I watch that are Battlefield-based channels. Get Go Going Dame over are mates of mine who seemed fairly happy about this, and Neebs Gaming, I didn't watch their video, but the title made them seem unhappy about this. I am just disappointed that Battlefield Portal is not Battlefield with portal guns, because Splitgate is basically Halo with portal guns, and that game is very fun. But this instead, Battlefield 2042, the new Battlefield, is going to have a mode called Battlefield Portal, which lets you kind of do custom matches, things. That kind of thing. But instead of it just being like, oh, I picked this map from Battlefield 2042 and people can use just these weapons from Battlefield 2042, it's gonna have stuff from a bunch of different games, a bunch of different past games, such as Battlefield 1942, Battlefield Bad Company 2, my name doesn't come from that, stop asking, and Battlefield 3. So it's kind of like make your own custom game mode with stuff from past Battlefield games. which does seem kind of cool, because in the little PC Gamer article, they speculate that you could equip a 32-player team with K98 rifles from World War II and have them fight a single squad of specialists from Battlefield 2042, which is cool. It's a cool little thing. It sounds fun, good for like crazy custom stuff. It's a nice idea.
But you're mad at the lack of portal guns.
Yes, I'm very mad at the lack of portal guns. Portal guns are great.
They are.
Portal guns
That's
are really
true.
good. Yeah.
That was part of the EA Play thing where I had zero motivation to see anything related to EA.
Yeah.
I don't know if you guys are the same way.
Pretty much. This literally is only on my radar because I'm friends with some Battlefield channels. If that wasn't the case, we would not be talking about this.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
I figured this was worth a brief mention.
I don't know, man. Just thinking about EA is exhausting. So.
Yeah.
I wonder what it's like working there. Just like, you know, just knowing that you work for them. I wonder if that's enough to just.
You know, maybe we should get Strategy on here because he definitely worked at EA.
Oh.
He's the one
I've
that-
worked at a terrible company before, and
Yeah.
it's generally a case of, well, I have to be here because I need money to pay bills, and the people I'm working with are nice, it's just everyone high up who I wish was dead.
You know, fun fact, the anti-work subreddit is getting larger.
Hey.
That's another place I don't want to linger too long, though, because
Right.
it goes from being successful to just any aspect of work being the worst thing and or the devil. So it's like I can't just exist. Like I fall into a deep depression if I'm just simply existing.
Yeah. It's important to have some purpose. But I mean, what could be more purposeful than playing mobile games on Netflix?
Oh dear God.
Surely that's what everyone wants to be doing with their time.
Sarge, that is worse than just existing.
What do you mean, though? Everyone loves mobile games. Everyone knows Netflix is the best gaming platform.
Yeah. That's what I think
These
of.
are all things, yeah, we understand and agree on.
I never said that. I never agreed to this, Sarge.
Okay. So, you may have heard the news, or be smart enough to figure out, from what I just said, that Netflix is going to be adding games to its platform.
Yay!
And it sounds like these are going to be mobile games, not going to be I was going to say not going to be playing Skyrim. Is Skyrim a mobile game yet? I feel like you can't be far
technically. I mean, it is on the Switch, so I mean, technically.
It's on the Switch, but yeah. I'm going to say
Technically.
2025 Skyrim comes out on smartphones. That's my guess. Extra bit of publicity for Elder Scrolls 6. That's what I'm going for.
It's gonna be like an update for the Elder Scrolls Blades. This is gonna convert it into Skyrim.
It was
Man, I
their
forgot
plan
Elder Scrolls
all
Blades
along.
even exists. Well, maybe we can play Blades on Netflix.
Uh-huh.
But we don't know too much about this yet. It's mostly like shareholder letters and stuff. But what we do know is that, quote, games will be included in members' Netflix subscription at no additional cost. So, good. That is good. If
Yeah.
I was suddenly hearing that I'd have to start paying more for Netflix, then I'd be like, oh no, I actually have
No, thank you.
good games to play instead. But yeah, it's a thing. It's not gonna have anything good on it, is it? Let's face it. And who's really gonna be like, oh yeah, Netflix is where I want to go? Like, if Netflix was adding actual like PC console games, like big AAA titles and stuff that, you know, us as gamers would enjoy playing, then maybe they could hit a new market, because there's going to be plenty of people out there, I'm sure, who haven't really got into gaming, haven't like invested in a console or a fancy gaming PC, who still might have Netflix and could use that as a way to be like, oh, I'm going to try out this game that I've heard people talking about, but which I've never had the chance to play. But with it being mobile games, you guys all have mobiles, right? So, you know, people have already played these things. And normally it's the kind of thing you'd probably be playing while watching Netflix, I'd imagine. So,
Yeah.
I think this is going to fail.
I don't know. You sounded weirdly positive, and then you just
And
dropped
then
right
just
off the
like, no.
cliff, Sarge.
Hey, that's just my accent, okay?
So,
It does
so
make
arrogant.
you really easy to listen to,
So
Sarge.
arrogant and posh. Unbelievable.
Yeah.
Outrageous.
Shall I go back to the other voice? Will that make it better?
Sarge, you can do whatever you want today. I don't care.
I could probably inject some positivity if you want, because I have an
Dude,
interesting
go for
thought
it.
that's somewhat positive. I think this could be a uniquely positive. Like, think about Netflix.
Stick those needles in and inject it, Jared.
Oh, here it comes, baby. Well, think of Netflix. Think about Netflix as it used to be. It used to be a service where you rented movies, and that was it.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
now,
man, I remember that.
and now they are making Netflix originals, TV shows, movies. They've already dipped into another market where they're making their own content. This could be a very unique and very positive opportunity for them if they do it right. So far with mobile gaming, I think is a bad way to start, but maybe not. But if they're able to get into, like you said, making actual, AAA decent, actual games, what if on Steam there's a game, blah, 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 produced by Netflix? It's not impossible to think that could work out. It's highly unlikely, but I think that they've proven that they can do their own stuff with TV shows and movies.
They have.
They got a lot of really good stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So if they could somehow figure out how to, translate that momentum into making games, which is a huge industry. It's bigger than it's ever been in its history, and only getting bigger. I think it could lead to something really good. Maybe. Probably not. I'm starting to teeter down like Sarge did at the end of his thing, because I think we can all assume that it's probably not going to happen, but it could.
It could.
There's a chance.
I feel like the perspective of a mobile gamer would help with this. I'm sure they exist. I don't know any.
I've got games on my phone, but I don't consider myself a mobile gamer. You know what I mean? I've got games, but
I want to get like that dude that's got a bicycle with 15 phones rigged up, and he's doing cookie clicker for other people.
Oh,
like a dog walker, but a phone walker biker guy.
The big advantage of mobile games, though, is you can play them out and about. You can play them while doing other stuff. While on Netflix, that's on your PC. I suppose you can watch Netflix on your phone as well. But it's just exactly the same. Netflix to me is much more of a sit down on the couch and watch something style of experience, which is more like console gaming. But if it's just mobile games, you're getting. I just think that the market they're going for already has a better way of playing mobile games on their mobile phones.
Right.
And I'm not aware of any mobile games out there which are so good that people who don't have mobile phones, like myself, are going to be like, oh yeah, I need to play that, I'll play it through Netflix.
I'm pretty sure there's going to be a Witcher mobile game.
No.
Okay.
There's going to be some sort of collab that way too. I'm sure of it.
If it's good, I'm all for it. But it won't.
I mean, I'll just watch the Netflix anime precursor to The Witcher because it actually looks good.
I'm gonna watch the crap out of that when it comes out.
It looks really, really good. I'm excited for that, but
that is among the two main reasons that I decided to get Netflix again. The other one is obviously Witcher Season 2.
Right.
But the anime one that's gonna be out next month is what's his name? The old the old man.
Vesemir?
Vesemir, thank you.
What on, Jared?
I'm
The
on it.
old one.
I'm on it. For once, I'm on it.
What's the old one?
Yeah. But he's not old in the anime. He's going to be
so
young.
specific.
He's going to be sexy.
Ooh.
Sexy Vesemir
Yeah.
time.
Ooh.
Yeah.
Ooh.
He's gonna be one of them attractive witchers.
Just lie in a
Gets-
bathtub
Gets all
for the
ladies.
entire episode. Just one straight hour of watching
that's-
Vesemir scrub himself clean.
And that's how he got old. He never got out of that tub.
Yeah, he's actually only like 5 years older than Geralt. He's just really like pruned up.
I'm gonna have a bit of a laugh if they put a reference into like romance cards or something like that. You guys know about that?
Nope.
Mm-mm.
Really?
My
yeah.
Witcher knowledge is, you use silver for monsters, right? Yeah,
So-
Witcher.
So you would get collectible cards in the first Witcher game for
yeah. Sorry.
for your womanizing escapades.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
It would be a hilarious and cheeky reference, but I hope like they shouldn't go all in with it because it's like super kind of misogynistic.
Yeah. Considering what we were just talking about.
Yeah. Yeah.
Probably not the best move.
Yeah.
that was
Shouldn't make that a collectible. Just putting that out
Yeah.
there. That was a source of a lot of drama when the first Witcher game came out. Actually.
I imagine. I don't remember the drama, but I remember the cards because I was a young man.
Mhm.
See,
We all were.
I played Witcher 3 as just, Yennefer. Is Yennefer the one with dark hair?
Yes.
Yes.
I always forget which one's which. Yes. I was just like, nope, apparently I'm with Yennefer, so I played it very loyal. My Geralt was a good person. I was very happy about that.
Okay.
Cool with it just being like that. I was like, nope, the game has told me that I'm with this person. I'm not going to be bad.
I do think it's great that if you try to play both sides, and try to be with Triss at the same time, like they'll both get back at you.
Yeah.
It's hilarious.
It's funny.
That's a good kind of treatment of that situation. Also, they're both loose cannons. Like you can't.
Right. You'd probably end the world if you successfully.
These are out of control sorceresses, dude. Like, Geralt's a special kind of man. Yeah. Anyway, yeah, Netflix is adding games.
Yep.
Cool.
I would like
hope
to. Oh, sorry.
More than just mobile games.
What if they introduce? Hear me out. The Netflix Switch Deck. The new Netflix handheld by Netflix original games.
The Flix deck.
This gotta be careful there.
the Flix handle.
Oh God. I don't know why, but that sounds like a BMX or a skateboarding trick. I just totally landed that Flex handle, dude.
It would double as a DDR pad, so you could do like, so you could set it up for like skateboarding games and crap.
Sweet.
That'd be cool.
Like we've already just come up with better ideas than they probably.
That'd be pretty bomb.
have.
We don't know who it's for, obviously, but it sounds cool in my head. Yeah, it's like the situation of like Rock Band and Guitar Hero and stuff like that. Like the barrier of entry is pretty high, or the financial entry is pretty high, and because it has controllers specific to those games, like I don't think it actually lasted longer than I expected it to. Most people did, I think, because it turned out to be one of the best games to play at a party, especially when you're smashed.
Which none of us know about because we're good boys.
No.
Shh.
I mean, I did enjoy Guitar Hero the most in my mid to late teens. And I was definitely sober for all of that, Mr. Officer.
That like okay, well, sometimes you like to have precise motor skills. Other times you like to just get hammered with your friends and play songs that you know, or attempt to. See how much of that muscle memory is actually intact when you're inebriated. It's actually pretty cool. But yeah, that derailed gloriously. So let's move on to the Fallout topic, shall we?
Woohoo!
Let's do that.
I want you to. Could you read word for word what you typed?
Oh yeah.
for the topic, Sarge.
Hi everyone, meet Heatstroke Sarge. He's not very smart. He said, "We haven't talked about VATS, guys. Like, come on, we should probably talk about that at some point, right? I've got a lot to say myself, you know."
So I thought that we had talked about VATS a little bit in like the mechanics discussion.
Well, yeah, it's been like mentioned, but it's never had like serious full-on discussion.
Like
especially
it's
like how it's changed over times and all of that stuff. Like, yeah.
So are we talking about VATS or VATS guys?
What?
Well,
I said we haven't talked about VATS, guys.
Like that's what I'm trying to like.
Guy.
Are we talking about VATS itself? Or are we talking about people who use VATS?
We're talking about VATS.
Okay.
I was just calling us guys.
Look, I was just curious. I just wanted to pinpoint because there are people that use it and there are people who don't use it. You know.
But we gotta be on the same page. I like where your head's at, Jared.
We are talking about the vault and all the targeting shoot.
Vault Pegasus and targeting system, Sarge.
That's what I said. That's what we're talking about.
That is
today.
literally what he said.
Yep, word for word. Yeah, I got the first word. Rest don't matter. All right.
There was one of the open-minded songs was VATS, so I have it drilled into my head with cool lyrics alongside. So
there were two specific points I wanted to touch on with this topic. First is discussing how VATS kind of changed between the games from the original up till how VATS plays into 76 now and all of the steps in between.
Ooh.
And then I wanted to talk about what VATS could be like in a future Fallout game. Because we'll have all of the other ones fresh in our mind from discussing them, and then we can be like, okay, this was really good, this should be in the next one. That thing wasn't so good, let's scrap that and not have it in the next one.
Well, if we're talking about that, we should talk about derivatives too. Like tactical time dilation.
I mean, we can if you want to.
Oh, you don't sound very thrilled. Okay, we can skip that.
No, I'm not. Like, it's a different system. Like,
but it's a targeting system.
Yeah, but so's XCOM has a targeting system. Rolling to hit is a targeting system.
So does Phoenix Point. You can tell when something is inspired by something else, though. Like tactical time dilation is clearly inspired by things they've done in the past, and it's Obsidian.
Yeah.
So, like, you know.
Yes.
And I was thinking of Phoenix Point as well because they have a very similar reticle system. With, body part aiming, just like VATS. So, I don't know. It was just a couple that came to mind. Anyway, start on your tangent.
What tangent? It's the main topic I want to talk about. I'm trying to pull us away from the tangents. I'm trying to keep this concise. All right, let's just start at the beginning with the first Fallout game, where you could use VATS. And it was a significant part of the combat, and most importantly of all, as well as shooting people in like the arms, the leg, and the head, you could shoot them in the eyes, and you could shoot them in the groin.
That's right. Check out my Fallout 1 playthrough. I punch everybody in the groin.
Yep.
That's a little self-promotion there really quick. It was also not known as VATS. Like, that was definitely a Fallout 3 thing. Like, Fallout 3 and onwards. It was just called aim shots.
Oh, man.
Yeah.
I've played Fallout 1. I use VATS extensively. And
yeah, and you call it VATS.
Even now I'm calling it VATS, yeah.
we're so used to it at this point. Like, man. That was definitely a Bethesda thing. Like, that was probably one of the best new systems, like when Fallout 3 came out, that was just like, ooh, yeah, that's amazing.
Well, in Fallout 3, they had to kind of justify, like, time stopping and stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Whereas in the classics, the way it played, you weren't experiencing it firsthand. It was on the isometric view, and it was just point and click, essentially.
Yep.
So having your character stop and aim and stuff made perfect sense, because it was turn-based as well, essentially. So you didn't really have to have much of a justification for it. It was literally just your character aiming and taking a little more time to aim, rather than just shooting in the general direction.
Yeah.
Right.
Whereas when it got to real time, you had to be like, oh, time has paused, your Pip-Boy is magic. Voltec!
Yeah!
I think that aim shots is perhaps a callback, or at least inspired by more like tabletop gaming, because I know in like D&D you can make a called shot at like a disadvantage or whatever, and that's what it kind of sounds like. It was a derivative of
it's a more general term for sure.
Yeah.
Or easier, more universal term. I'm all about those too, like when we're talking about systems and mechanics and stuff like that, to make it so that it's easy to understand. Like like when you're like when you're referring to the special attributes, people can call it special or attributes or both, and you can still get the same idea across, kind of thing. When we were messing around with the D&D stuff, I got really like inwardly annoyed that they were still called ability scores. It's a weird thing, but anyway. Not gonna turn that into a rant. I enjoyed, and I want it to be added back. I kind of have an idea as to why like at least the groin shots were removed. Because that would take some extra rigging when it came to like jibbing the enemy.
Yeah.
Because you could just like put a hole through their pelvis kind of thing, and the rest of their body's still intact. That'd be probably some extra work for the devs, and you'd have somebody known as a crotch artist in the in the credits. Entertaining as it would be, I don't know if the extra effort at that level would be necessary. Eyes, on the other hand, like I think that could still be pulled off. Perception penalty or accuracy penalty for higher critical damage or chance, or both.
I mean, it's kind of a case that crippling was a big part of targeting specific limbs, especially in the later games. What always springs to mind when I think of crippling for me is Fallout 4 with the ghouls, where you could literally like shoot off arms and legs entirely, and watch them just crawl about or try to get to you. Yeah,
they would just the synths too. Yeah, the synths, you could just totally blow off.
The Sims sometimes had guns though. They did scary.
If you shot off their leg, they would still just lay there and shoot at you if you were in their front arc.
Yeah. But I think when it comes to that, when you like cripple someone in the head, their accuracy gets worse and they get kind of triple vision, or at least that's what happens to you and what you assume happens to the enemy.
So maybe more like a consolidation.
Yeah. But if you could hit them in the eyes, and specifically shoot out their eyes, not only would that be a ton of damage, that is an enemy that is fully blinded. That's not them struggling to hit you because you're all a bit blurry and messed up. They're just going to shoot in random directions. Which I think if they did bring back to the modern system, could lead to some great scenarios where you like blind the gunner with a missile launcher, and they swing about and just literally shoot in a completely random direction, either hitting you directly, blowing themselves up by shooting the ground underneath them, or shooting it towards their allies.
Yeah. And enemy cool. AI already kind of lends to that too, because they do have blind shooting in Fallout 4.
Yeah.
So,
but the blind shooting is still in the perceived direction of where you are.
Oh yeah, yeah. But that could be. I'm sure that could be altered.
Oh yeah. Literally, just make them spin around. I don't even care if it looks janky. Just have them spin wildly. I think it would just be very, very fun.
Spin wildly and then fly into space. Boom. But that's
it just works.
Yep. Yep. That's how I imagine it working. Is shooting somebody in the eyes and they just spin into space.
Yeah. Well, I do think an important part of that, just throughout the entire series, is choosing, like, the most dangerous body part and then being like, I need to immobilize that. Because we already mentioned, like, legs on ghouls is great, because then they're crawling after you. The same thing with, like, the dart gun in Fallout 3, even though it's not VATS-based, it cripples the legs of enemies, which means Deathclaws.
That's too overpowered, though.
Yeah, it is ridiculous.
It's the most overpowered weapon.
I forgot
in
how
Fallout
much
3.
damage it does as well. I only ever remember the crippling thing, but having played through Fallout 3 recently, with the dart gun as a main weapon now, it's just like, wow, the health just disintegrates.
Yeah.
But, no, I think specifically being able to target something and be like, I need to get rid of that. But enemies charging at you, they're right-handed and they're wielding a melee weapon in their right hand. Being able to, like, cripple their right arm in VATS becomes very important, because suddenly that reduces their combat effectiveness a whole bunch.
Yep.
And I think one game that did that really well was Fallout 3, where you could actually target the weapon they were holding.
Yes.
Which is something I love, and I'm pissed off it's never come back.
What? I thought you could target weapons in Fallout 4.
No, what you can do is upgrade the Gunslinger perk. You can just shoot the enemy anywhere, and they have a chance of being disarmed. You can't shoot the specific weapon in that in Fallout 4.
That's not nearly as cool.
Yeah. Whereas in Fallout 3, something I did a lot against enemies that were bigger and tougher than me, especially when I started running into like super mutant overlords with tri-beam laser rifles.
Maybe I was
because
thinking
they
grenades.
were so... Yeah, grenades you can hit them for, which is also awesome. But
Yes.
back in Fallout 3, when I was coming up against these tri-beam laser rifle wielding enemies, they could kill me in like 3 or 4 hits. And they were incredibly tough, because super mutants are tough. So instead of like being, oh yeah, I'm just going to shoot them and spam stimpaks, I would literally shoot the gun out of their hands and either try and pick it up, or as they ran over to grab it, just get a bunch of damage in on them. And it was such a cool thing, and it also incentivizes VATS. Jared talked earlier about VATS guys and non-VATS guys. I'm a non-VATS guy, because I have good manual aiming.
In fact, every time I suggest it, Sarge is like, psh, I'm not a freaking VATS pleb.
People suggest it to me all the time, and then I just like headshot someone while walking along, and I just like, oh yeah, I used to play FPSs, you know. I'm like super cool. And then I go into VATS and it's like 4% chance to hit, and I'm like, you call that a 4%? That's a 100% when Sarge is on the trigger.
I can eyeball this.
Yeah. But being able to like shoot specifically the weapon in like a panic situation and stuff in that is something which incentivizes it, which I think is really cool. Because Fallout 4's way of incentivizing it was the critical system, which is
bad.
Good. Oh, wow, we timed that well. Oh, go on, Caedo. Have a rant about it.
All right. Well, I don't think a guaranteed critical and also a guaranteed hit them whenever you want, however you want, is something that should be allowed.
Oh. You think it's too powerful, huh?
I think it's way too powerful. Because VATS in Fallout 3 was a whole another beast, because you had like, and Fallout 4 has it too, is the VATS damage resistance.
Yeah.
For anybody who doesn't know what I'm talking about, it's while the VATS sequence is playing through, like as you're taking your shot and stuff like that, not while you're targeting, but as the cinematic thing is happening, like your character has like a 90% damage resistance. So like it's more about the spectacle than your character actually surviving this in normal situations, which is why when you have a super mutant suicider about to dunk on your face with a mini nuke, like if you're in VATS, it does almost nothing.
Yeah.
Nice.
So there's that aspect that was carried over from Fallout 3 to Fallout 4. You're surprisingly mortal in Fallout New Vegas when the sequences are playing, so you got to be smart about it. But also in Fallout 4, they added this, limit break type bar buildup system, which is cool in concept, but when you do set up a crit, and you can actually stack your crits too with the right perks, it can, if you hit that crit button, it's a guaranteed hit no matter what. And so you're guaranteed to do exactly so much damage, and these enemies can be like running behind cover, or they can be like, I'm sure there was some point where they were behind another building, and I was just like,
here's the thing, you still need a percentage chance to hit them. You need a minimum 1% chance.
Well,
that's the thing. If they are fully covered, like 100% fully covered, then you can't hit them with a crit.
But there's a penetrator perk that gets around that too. But also,
okay,
which makes it really stupid. But also, this is also before the sequence is playing through. So if you see somebody going towards cover, you can hit multiple targets and get your critical meter up if it's not already, and then end on that final target. As long as you're counting shots, you can still hit them with that crit if they're already behind a building. So, like, that's just my take on how stupidly overpowered the crit system is in Fallout 4. And the problem is that there's also residual items in the game that make it seem like there's an actual crit chance in the game instead of just a bar. And I think it's one of the chems that comes to mind, which legitimately gives you a passive crit chance while it's active. Otherwise, you don't have one. So like real-time crits, like you could get in Fallout 3 and Fallout New Vegas. Fallout 4, you don't have real-time crits, usually. VATS crits are OP. In Fallout 4, they're way too friggin' powerful.
I don't think they're OP. I do think they're powerful, but I don't think they're overpowered.
We're gonna fight, Sarge.
I think, here's the thing, a lot of the stuff you've talked about is like critical banker, having enough action points in order to hit multiple times, having high perception for the penetrator perk. You're talking about a very specific perception, agility, luck build in order to use criticals in the best way possible.
You are the build guy.
Yeah, but here's the thing, you're making a powerful build with one specific purpose. And I think it's good to be able to make a specific build be very powerful and be very effective. And you've just described a good build for a particular type of player when it comes to playing Fallout 4. If you're not someone who's the best at first-person shooters, you can still use the VATS system effectively, and Criticals gives you a way to get guaranteed hits, which reduces the reliance on the percentage-based chances of Fallout 4, which generally aren't very good, even with high perception. And it means that people who are not good at FPS games have a way to still create a powerful build that uses guns, as opposed to just having to go for melee tank-style thing and charge at everyone. And I think that is a valuable thing to be included into a game that is designed for a lot of different types of players.
I didn't expect you to champion the plebs.
Hey, one of the best things Bethesda does, and it's something that they get criticised on so often, is making their games accessible for a lot of different people.
All right.
Like, these games are built to be made by a huge range of people. And while there's lots of you lot out there who are like, oh no, this needs to be ultra specific and needs to just be for me as the type of player I am, and everyone else shouldn't enjoy this because this game should be for me instead. It should be a game specifically designed for what I want. I believe there is a lot of value in making a game and making a series of games which are wide-reaching and can appeal to people who play in completely different ways.
Well, I hope I'm not misunderstood here. I wanted to say like Sarge was bragging about how important it is to be able to shoot without the use of VATS whatsoever, and you're backing up VATS now, and I like that.
Yeah, well, for me, I am good at FPS games. I know I was kind of joking about it earlier, but I am genuinely quite good at them.
Yes.
But I am fully aware that a lot of people don't spend their time like I do playing FPS style things. My preferred playstyle is first person shooter. So I've got good at it because I've been playing it for years. But plenty of people don't play even Fallout as a first person shooter. They'll play it in third person, and that's the way to do it. And then maybe that's better, because quite frankly, I don't get how anyone could be good at third-person shooters. They seem ridiculous to me. But, yeah, I think I've made my point. I'm not going to drag it out anymore.
I think it's also important to remember that VATS was probably designed with console players in mind, because I think it's fairly accepted that playing first-person shooters and shooters in general on the console, you have a little bit less you're a little bit less control than with like a mouse and keyboard. And I feel like VATS, at least when it was introduced in Fallout 3, it feels a lot more as a way, like you were just saying, to include more people as much as possible. Like VATS was kind of a really good way to.
I think that was a time where aim assist wasn't even close to a thing yet either.
Yeah.
When it
so it was a really good way of making it say, hey, and this is a first person shooter. We know that consoles and first person shooters have this sort of like mixed relationship. Here's a solution to that that's really cool and really fun and doesn't take away from the experience at all. In fact, it makes it, it adds to it. So
yeah. Maybe we should just point at VATS when people are like, oh, Bethesda ruined it. Because that's something they legitimately improved when they went through a 3D plane, is VATS. Like that, oh man, VATS is awesome. Despite me calling it overpowered in Fallout 4, yeah.
I feel like there's tons of things that it can be pointed at, but I feel that the people generally being like, oh, it's been ruined, will just point at the same couple of things they don't like, and stick with that, and ignore the positives. Because when you've got negatives that you don't like, it's very easy to ignore the stuff that you would like. Yeah. Because you're just like, yeah, all of that stuff's good, but this one thing has ruined it for me.
Yeah, it's the habit of like deciding you don't like something before you even like put your hands on it. Kind of thing. And I do that too. Like, I ensured that I was not going to like other Souls-like games by playing through an entire Souls-like game to my own. I tortured myself, basically. Finding out, they're not for me, and then just passing on all of them. Because, I mean, it's not one singular aspect besides the whole genre. But
there is one more big, like, overarching thing I wanted to talk about with VATS before talking about what it could be like in the future, which is the flow of time in VATS. Because just talking about like first-person kind of games as well, in Fallout 3 in New Vegas, time stops when you're targeting in VATS. You take your time, you make a drink, you go to the bathroom, you do whatever you want to do. You can sleep, you can literally go to bed, and then you can come back, select what things you're going to target, then shoot them. In Fallout 4, it was slow motion.
Yes.
Where you could just still target things, but you couldn't take an 8-hour nap in between selecting an enemy.
Yeah, you couldn't just wait it out.
Yeah. So there was still a slight cinematic element to it all, and all of that. But then Fallout 76 came around, and because it's a multiplayer game, you can't just slow down time anytime someone went in that.
It's gotta be real time.
Yeah, and the people asking for that clearly don't understand the actual implications. Yeah. Imagine if every time someone went to VATS, the entire game slows down for everyone on the server.
Here's the thing though, Sarge, I want to draw on another game that I still have no idea how they do it. Techland is on a different level when it comes to developing certain things, but somehow they were able to integrate slow motion kills in multiplayer. I don't know how, but it's freaking awesome in Dying Light, in the first Dying Light game.
Is it a cinematic that plays?
It's not a cinematic. It's just on the player's end, first person. It is you can do a slow motion kill cam first person with.
Okay, see, if it's zombies. A kill cam style thing, I can understand how that works. I'm guessing the targeting doesn't go in slow motion or anything. It's just the animation on the killing blow. It
appears as though it's everything on screen.
Okay. I'm not sure if that's agreeing with you or not. I'd have to see it, but I can think of a way you can make it work in a multiplayer game, which is just in a way that basically is... I don't know how to describe it.
Yeah, it's hard.
There's definitely a way to make it work in multiplayer that doesn't affect the actual gameplay experience of another person.
Yes.
Which is just the kill cam element of it being in slow motion, because then you're just essentially affecting a limited period of time for an individual player, while the other player can continue moving on. Because you're not having to slow down the entire world, you're just having to slow down the specific elements of it.
Yeah.
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 Bethesda, hire me.
Bethesda, talk to Techland. Find out how they did this cool stuff. Also, parkour and literally anything to do with traversal. You need to do better with traversal,
Yes.
please.
God, yes.
Every developer, please
Yes.
listen to that note.
Yes.
Can we
Like, why
climb
is-
ladders yet? No? Fix it.
So why in every game are we still not able to just climb up on a ledge? You know? Like, basic mantle, mechanics. Why does every game not have that at this point?
Yeah. We need more mantling, please.
If nothing else. It's like, I'm a super soldier and I can't jump up this 3-foot ledge because I can't quite jump. Like, come on. Mantle that
Yeah.
right now.
And just I've been looking at different mechanics that could be added to a game. I mean, I can circle back to the disappointment that is Cyberpunk 2077 and the wall crawling and assassinations and stuff.
Game of the year.
So that was completely cut from Cyberpunk, by the way.
Yep, definitely wasn't the reason I pre-ordered. No, it's totally fine.
But if that kind of like either like climbing ability or extra like verticality traversal type stuff is added into future games, I want to see like more perks kind of associated with those things, and the ability to like do it faster or be more like energy efficient or stuff like that. Stuff that makes sense, obviously.
I'll be able to float in the air by aiming after you've done your double jump off the wall.
Ooh.
Oh, like Rage 2?
I was thinking like Titanfall 2, which has perks based on movement.
Yeah. Yeah, so kind of like that, but, you know, within the universe's rules, of course.
Make it work.
Rage 2 doesn't really have any.
No. Rage 2 is just... I was thinking about Rage 2 last night. Just as such a solid game in terms of its shooting mechanics.
Oh, yeah.
Nothing else.
It's just fun factor with blowing stuff up and killing things.
Yeah.
But the rest of it is like, eh.
It's like going to a scrapyard and shooting some bottles.
Yeah.
It's just... Yeah, it's such a fun feeling. Oh,
Punch
wait, there's
the
nothing
ground
else to do.
and
Cool.
liquidize everyone around you. It's great every single time.
Alright. Well, I'm gonna drag us kicking and screaming back to the Fallout topic
Okay.
to wrap it up. Because I wanted to talk about what are the elements we really like from previous VATS systems, which we want to see in the future game. And the first one I have is... Well, first off, assuming it's a single-player Fallout game, I would like the time stop VATS system, where you stop time completely, you shoot an enemy, you get the cinematic kill cam and stuff. Fallout 4's slow down time, which has a little bit of pressure but still keeps things fairly cinematic. And Fallout 76's real-time VATS system, which stops you from being able to just pause the game and take it easy. I want all of them in the next Fallout game under the expansive difficulty setting tab, where you can turn on and off so many things.
Oh.
So that it can be tailored to the
I can
player.
already tell which direction you were going, and I like it.
Because here's the thing, Fallout 76 had to put VATS in that way.
Yeah.
But it also does make things a lot more tense. You don't just have, Vault-Tec is magic and can slow down time for you. It's literally like, yeah, Vault-Tec can target for you, but that enemy is still charging towards you. And that suicide is still getting real close. So you can't just pause time, shoot them in the arm, watch them blow up, and everything be fine. But obviously not everyone wants Fallout to be incredibly tense for them. We've already spoke about how VATS is supposed to be good for bringing in players who maybe are on console, maybe aren't the best at aiming, maybe aren't pro FPS players and stuff. Those people exist, and they deserve to have the chance to have it be slowed down if they still want a bit of a challenge, or stopped entirely if they just want things to look cool and have a bit of fun their own way. And having it as a difficulty setting is a good thing, and also fixes the difficulty problem of just oh, enemies deal 2 times damage, you deal half damage. The game is harder now. Which sucks. Anyway,
Yeah.
that is my start for what I'd like VATS to be like in the future.
Well,
What
if
else do you
you'll
wanna see?
allow me to continue to compare to other games that have similar systems.
Fine.
Thank you, Sarge. Phoenix Point obviously has an aiming system very reminiscent of VATS itself, but they have a kind of a ring reticle system instead, which I really like a lot more than solid percentages.
Okay.
Where the outer ring is 100%. So anything that is inside of the outer ring, if the outer ring is like over the entire body, like there's no like gaps between limbs or something like that, like you're going to hit them. What I would like to see is the ability to free aim, more so than just switching targets, which is kind of clunky. I would rather free aim, and then it highlights as you go over it, as well as have a reticle that has a flat percentage chance if everything is inside of that reticle, which goes down if not everything is inside the reticle. That makes a lot more sense, I think. I also like the idea of crippling and status ailments to be a little more interesting than just this limb is crippled. It's now unable to use that or doesn't use it as well. Shooting weapons, obviously, I would like to have that again. I think the reason it was in Fallout 3 was because of durability as well, because 4 doesn't have durability. But it was added back in 76, so maybe they'll put it in Fallout 5 or whatever the next the next Fallout thing is.
I feel like they can't have put weapon targeting into 76 in the same way it was in Fallout 3, because it started out as more of a PvP game. And can you imagine someone just breaking your gun constantly? That would have pissed off so many players.
Yeah.
It would have been hilarious.
Yeah, it would have.
It would have pissed off so many players.
Dude, imagine if they added that in the early stages, like you could just like a super mutant's gun, you could shoot it out of their hands and it would just fly off into the distance.
Oh my god.
What do I do now? Oh.
Yeah. It just starts sprinting towards the weapon.
Instant pathfinding.
Off into the sunset. Yeah, there was something else that came to mind, but I don't think I think I may have lost it. Tactical time dilation was like a bit of an oversimplification, I think, for in the Outer Worlds, where like it did have like free aim targeting, it had the slow-mo, but it was primarily status effects kind of thing. Like it was a lot more status effect driven than it was like crippling wise, or like they were kind of mixed, which didn't make it very easy to understand what was going on in the middle of a fight.
It was the kind of thing where once you'd played through the game and checked for wiki and done your own research, it was really cool. But in the middle of a crowded firefight, slowing down time slightly for like 3 seconds while trying to figure out if you should shoot someone in the head or the leg and what the effects do was a bit of a pain.
Yeah. And not to mention, like, damage types seemed a lot more important in the Outer Worlds than it did in Fallout.
Yeah.
So there's that as well. Man, groin shots would be great still.
All of that just to be like, we should shoot people in the groin.
Yeah. It'd be pretty great.
I think just for the fun factor. You know what? Even if it wasn't groin shots, just being able to shoot people and them clutch at their groin as a death animation, I'd even take that.
Yeah. I would as well. What do you think, Jared? about
Hmm.
VATS?
Well, personally, like, I have to be, like, more on Sarge's end where, like, I don't really use VATS that much. I'm more of a free shoot, like, first-person shooter.
Oh, look at these guys with their shooting.
But, I mean, and that's also saying, like, I still think that VATS is cool. But at the same time, that also means that I've never really thought about what I would want out of VATS other than the way it already is. And even if they did add more stuff, it would be more of an interesting, like, thing to know, and I probably still wouldn't use it. Like, it's cool, but, like, I just like to aim down my, like, sights and pull the trigger, you know? I don't, because it's Vault assisted targeting. I don't need assistance.
Whoa.
That's right.
I do think it is important.
Sorry.
I do think it is important that people can still play the game effectively as a first-person shooter.
Mm-hmm.
And one of my least favorite things that many a true nerd has ever said is kind of like he had a mixed opinion about it. I'm going to oversimplify a bit and make him look worse. But he talked about how the shooting in Fallout 4 becoming a lot better, just the game becoming better as an FPS game, had the disadvantage of people using VATS less. Terrible take, and he totally didn't clarify like a sentence or two later, but it's still
I agree.
important. Oh no, he definitely didn't do that. But I do think it's important for VATS not to be something that you have to use, or which you feel pressure to use.
Yeah.
It should be an optional thing that's added into the game, which enriches it for people, but isn't like, oh, you have to use this because free aiming is bad in comparison. And I think making it balanced is important, and Caedo even touched on VATS crits potentially being overpowered, which, although I disagree on, does lead to the style of thing where if VATS becomes more powerful than it is, it could make the game worse by reducing how fun it is to manually aim, because manually aiming would be bad. The entire pace of the game could get slowed down by only ever using VATS, and it could turn a lot of players off.
Well, there's already advantages that VATS gets over standard shooting anyway. Like we were talking about the penetrator perk. That's only VATS.
Yeah. You can use perks for that. But that is making a build specifically based around using VATS that way.
Yes.
Because whenever I play Fallout 4, people are like, what do you mean you're playing a sniper with one perception? What are you doing? And people get very annoyed at me, and they're like, oh no, you have to take the sniper perk. I get told all the time, you need to take the sniper perk. And
Yeah,
then
take it, Sarge.
dome headshot everyone. No!
Like, I am the sniper perk.
Yeah. It's like, sure, the knockdown is nice, don't get me wrong, but the extra accuracy in VATS I don't need because I snipe from a distance.
Hey, you guys remember
That's
when
something I'd
McCready's perk was accidentally the best perk in the game?
Yes. That's okay.
Sorry.
That was a bit of a
Interjected.
but, okay, halfway through my rant, I realised what I would like is VATS to be better at longer ranges with weapons that are designed for long range. Because being a VATS sniper, you do have to be the POW build, which Caedo was talking about, in order to make it work at all. Where you really need to use the crits, because the percentage chance to hit with a sniper at long range in VATS, even with max perception, is not high at all. You're looking at like 50-50 at best, for like super perception boosting gear and stuff from a not even like super long range shot, just like a shot you'd imagine a sniper in the game to be taking. And it led to snipers being close to mid-range combat if they were VATS based, if they weren't relying on crits, which I was never a fan of.
Yeah. Is that the topic? Do we run it out?
I think we ran it out. I think we did a good coverage. People in the comments can tell us how I'm right or how I'm wrong.
Probably.
Sarge likes being told that he's wrong, because then he can.
Yep. I can argue.
Then he can argue with you.
Yep. I can tell you, but no, you're wrong.
Which must really frustrate you, because I tend to agree with you on most things.
Yeah. People agree with me a lot. That's annoying.
Sorry, it's just like, yeah, you know.
I need to get worse at explaining my points.
I said fight me, Sarge. So I think that's the most you're gonna get today.
That's pretty good.
But okay. I'm still not at 100%. So I I don't know if I actually have fight in me. I just said it out loud.
No. Yeah, all of us are a bit too at the moment doing fighting.
Yeah.
So instead, we've been playing video games.
Yeah. That what? Well, not lately, but yes.
I mean, in the past 2 weeks,
Yes.
I imagine you have played a video game, haven't you, Caedo?
Perhaps. At least 3.
Alright, are you potentially going to tell us what those video games are in the final section that we do on every PIPCAST?
The PIPCAST? Yes. The section where we talk about what we've been playing or working on. I feel like I should only share the Rage 2 one because it was hilarious.
Yes.
So we're already talking about Rage 2. I am working on my was working on my games for Fallout fans games, working through the personal list of games that I have to determine which 10 more video games would be good for Fallout fans. Rage 2 is on the list. It's going to be on the proper list. Because it's a post-apocalyptic game. It's just fun. But I hadn't played it since 2019. All of the display nightmare that I dealt with when it first came out, I still had to deal with again.
Oh, dear.
Which was the fun first thing. Anybody who doesn't know, when Rage 2 came out, me, Camel, and Sarge, Camelworks, and Sarge all complained about display settings in Rage 2 being absolute trash and annoying.
Oh, yeah.
And it not being able to handle either dual monitor setups or high resolution monitors or something.
Yeah.
And it would just be like, oh, you need to unplug your second monitor just so it can run in full screen.
Yeah.
Or just something just off the wall that was just totally not something that should happen.
It was so content creator unfriendly.
Yes.
It was ridiculous. I will never stream that game.
No.
I would love to stream it just as like a short little playthrough, just have some fun with the community,
Not
and it
happening.
will never happen. Never happen.
No.
They've never fixed the issue.
Barely. They've barely fixed the issues. It still really doesn't like when I move my mouse over Discord. There's about a 50-50 chance the game's gonna crash when I select my other monitor.
I think that happened recently, didn't it?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
Like I was trying to get your attention or something. I can't remember.
Yeah, that's right. That's right. Because I think we were
just a reply.
we're just talking about the D&D stuff, and I was like replying to your comment. I'm like, oh, my game crashed. Let's do something else. Yeah, it's basically that. But on top of that, because I hadn't played it since 2019, and they had all of these like unnecessary skins that they added to weapons as if it were a multiplayer game, which it's not, that I had 8 minutes straight of the character selection screen unlocking weapon skins from community events and completing said community events, the splash coming up for like completing a quest for 8 straight minutes. I recorded it. It's on Twitter. You're welcome to check it out. I sped it up a little bit, so it's not actually 8 minutes. It's more like 3 or 4. But that was an adventure. But also, like, generally it didn't like action gameplay recorder, the recording software that I use. Like, it didn't get along with action either, so sometimes action would just straight up crash too. Yeah, it's just fun to not have a game work when you decide to click on something else or do something else for a fraction of a second. So I wanted to say one other game that I played, because it's not going to be on the list, is The Flame and the Flood.
Yeah. And
it's primarily because... Do you play that, Jared?
I haven't played it. I've heard of it, and I've seen it, and it's been one that I've wanted to play. And then when I saw that you played it, and I was like, oh. Yeah, I do recommend it. It is a fun little indie. It was a bit longer than I expected, actually. I still finished in one sitting. Yeah.
But that one sitting was almost an entire day. So, basically, it is a post-apocalyptic game where you, known as the Scout, are with your dog that you had just like discovered at the very beginning of the game. You are in a flooded world, Earth, I'm assuming, and it's the kind of I think like climate change type apocalypse. Or it was like all of them put together. I think if you read the lore in it, it's like all of them put together. So it's like climate, and then like pandemic, and then like nuclear holocaust, like everything at once, or one thing after another. And then basically you are, since the world is basically flooded also, the main mode of transportation is the raft that you have. So you're spending a lot of the time navigating the rivers, these giant rivers and rapids and stuff like that, and stopping at various docks to gather resources to upgrade your gear, fight off the wildlife. If it's hostile, it's, you know, boars and wolves and stuff like that. Developing, it's got the survival elements, so you need to, you know, stay hydrated with clean water. You need sources of food, that kind of stuff, sleep. And it's got that kind of loop. And so you're boating, you stop at a spot, you get the resources that are supposed to be in that area, and you hop back in your boat and you keep going and make stuff out of your items. I found out that the bow is extremely inefficient when you have to make arrows for it, because you can't retrieve arrows. So once you shoot an arrow at something, it's gone. So I ended up creating just a whole bunch of spike traps instead, because they were more resource efficient. So keep that in mind if you remember anything from this, Jared. Bow and arrow is not efficient.
Is the game procedural at all, or is it the same?
I think it is. I only played through it once. I didn't fail at all. Like, I didn't like super lose, but I also kind of save scummed a little bit.
Okay.
Like, if I knew something was gonna go horribly wrong, like the first time I saw a bear, I was like, I'm gonna poke this bear. And it turned out the bear was like 3 to 4 times my speed.
Nice.
Yeah, I was gonna die, so that I, you know, force quit and loaded the game back up, and it quick saves when you stop at the dock. So like, it's before the bear came at me. But I think it is procedural.
Okay.
What was it? It was a nice little story. There's I guess you could call them collectibles. I don't think there's an achievement attached at all. But they're what tell you the story of some of the survivors. Well, some of the not survivors, some of the people that stayed behind, kind of thing. And what happened to them. There was one about a cat lady who was only allowed to bring one cat for the evacuation, so she just stayed because she wanted to stay with all her cats.
Dang.
Yeah. So I think it's a good game, but it doesn't feel Fallout-y, which is why it's not going to make it to the games for Fallout fans list. It's a little too much closer to something like Waterworld, where like Waterworld itself doesn't really feel like Fallout.
Right.
It's still a cool apocalyptic scenario and cool post-apocalypse, but like it kind of feels like it's in a different, I mean, because it's in a different environment. So anyway, that's what I've been doing. What about you, Jared?
Well, I've just started playing for the first time, and you'll probably appreciate it because I know you're a big fan of the company. Game called Bastion.
Yeah.
See, I told you. And
the
I
most you
guess
get out of me.
okay, that's pretty good though.
Yeah.
I actually did play it once years and years ago. At the time, I can't remember why I didn't continue playing it. I think just wasn't quite what I was like wanting from a game at that time. And then of course time goes on, and you forget about it. And then recently I was like, oh, I've never actually played this or played through this, so started playing it, and well, imagine my surprise. It's a good game.
Weird.
Yeah, I'm just playing it for myself. I'm not making videos on it. No content, no live streams or anything. I just something for me.
Wow.
Yeah.
I know you're not used to playing good games, so I guess I bet
Wait, what do you mean? I play tons of good games. I play tons of good games. Every game I play. Every game I play is good. Just because I complain about it doesn't mean I don't like it.
But we only play bad games.
Oh, well. That may be true. I don't know. I've got nothing witty to say in response. I'm sorry. I'm too tired.
I didn't have any further to go either, so
I appreciate
we've ruined the joke. I fricked up.
It's okay. I did too. So I'll just talk about the next game.
Okay.
Which I have been streaming. I've actually been streaming on Twitch because I've started streaming on Twitch as well, because YouTube sucks. At least for me, and getting notifications out and stuff like that. So I was trying something different by playing Power Wash Simulator, which has exploded as an indie game recently, especially now with some of the bigger YouTubers having gotten their hands on it. It's just a great game. It's just, who would ever have thought a game about power washing would be not only fun but also entertaining, because I've been streaming it and people seem to like it. It's just relaxing. Throw on some like relaxing music.
It's one of them oddly satisfying games, man.
Huh?
It's one of them oddly satisfying games.
It really is. It's one of those games that you have to experience to really understand. Like, honestly, I like streaming it. I like playing it. I don't know if I could watch someone play it, but that's just coming from a content creator, I guess, maybe perspective. It's maybe different. I don't know, but it's really fun. I streamed that on Wednesday nights. So if anyone wants to come watch,
Hint, hint, nudge, nudge. Check out Jared's stream on Wednesdays.
Yeah.
What time?
It's late. Like I call it my late night power wash and chill. So it's usually between 11:30 at night Pacific Standard, because that's when I get off of work.
Ah, okay.
But I mean, I still get a decent amount of people sometimes.
Yeah. I just wanted to throw a time out there because so people know.
Yeah, and if you really want to know, it's twitch.tv/Jared Gaming. So there you go.
I gotta add that to the credits too, because is it going to be primarily on Twitch?
Yeah, Power Wash Simulator is at this point. I did it originally on YouTube, but I try to keep YouTube relegated to more like horror stuff. So that's kind of what I do there.
Yeah,
I'll give you I'll send you a link in Discord.
Okay.
Wait, add it if you don't mind. I'd definitely not be opposed to that. Let's see, what else have I been playing? Still playing Mass Effect. Still streaming Mass Effect as well. In fact, I streamed last night. Still plugging away at it. Still really liking it. It's Mass Effect. What more can you say? In fact, I'm not going to say any more about it because I just put it in there. But one game that I played recently, and I did make a video on my YouTube channel, and it was just a demo, and it's something that I think you guys might actually like, is a game called Industria. And I don't know if you've heard about it or not. But
I've literally, the only hearing about it is seeing it pop up in my subscription feed because you've played it.
I would recommend looking into it. I don't know if it's post-apocalyptic, but it could be, because it's a demo, I don't really know that much about it, but it sets place in alternate reality of like the when Germany was split between East and West Germany.
Oh, yeah.
After the Cold War and stuff like that. Or was it Cold War? Or before the Cold... I can't remember my history at the moment, but...
Oh, so like Metal Gear Solid.
It could be. I don't know. It's just... It reminds me... It actually reminds me a heck of a lot, just visually reminds me of, like, Half-Life. Like Half-Life 2, with the Combine and everything. Except it's an alternate reality, 1980s setting. And there's a lot of like automatons and robots and stuff. It almost has this post-apocalyptic feel, almost Fallout-ish type of feel. No nuclear disaster or anything like that.
So dystopian.
But dystopian, definitely.
Okay.
I mean,
I'm looking at it right now. I'm seeing that vibe.
Yeah, it's very it needs a lot of work still. Like I said, it's a demo. I don't know. I don't remember when it's coming out. You might have that information if you're looking at it, but
Q3 2021.
Yeah, but solid. Like as far as like the shooting, like it's first-person shooter. I instantly thought of Sarge when I was playing. I was like, he might actually really enjoy this. I at least I thought the shooting felt really solid. It felt like forceful, which I like. When guns actually feel like, guns.
Yeah.
But just I was really impressed. It's an indie game as far as I know. Yeah, it's not AAA or anything, so more kudos to the indie scene. But yeah, it was just really cool. Check out my playthrough. Gyrate Gaming, YouTube, yo.
Like and subscribe, hit the bell.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, boy. I mean, I'm sure I played a bunch of other stuff, but that was
Join the
Jarmy.
Jarmy.
So. That's right. That's right. But what about you, Sarge? What you been up to?
I have been playing a few different games.
Very different.
I had been streaming Fallout 4. I have stopped this week because hot.
Yes.
But fingers crossed, tomorrow on Monday, I will be streaming the final episode of the Fallout 4 Dark Craving Challenge Run, which has been my survival mode livestream playthrough, where I've only been able to consume food through the use of cannibalism, and I've been trying to get all 7 of the special bobbleheads has been my goal. It has been a pretty crazy one, and it's gone better than I thought it would do as a challenge run. It was surprisingly good. Cannibalism in survival mode is a right pain. You go instantly from fine to ravenous, which is -8 endurance, which literally halves my health.
Yeah.
Which makes me like a one-shot kill, pretty much. So that has forced me into, like, playing faster and rushing about, which is not normally what you do in survival. So that has been really cool. Fingers crossed, that'll be back on Monday, so subscribe to my channel, turn on notifications. It's in the afternoon if you're in America, and in the evening if you're in Europe. However, this past week I've obviously not been able to play that, because the PC is a heater, which burns me. So instead, I've been playing a couple of different games. The first is Octopath Traveler, which if you are a fan of classic JRPGs, I highly recommend. It is a very cutesy little RPG, with some cool mechanics. The combat is very interesting. You have to use weaknesses to like break enemy shielding in order to kill them easier. It's got a diverse cast of characters who all have their own unique effects, and as well as combat abilities, they have these things called path actions, which were really cool at first, until I realised that you have 8 characters, and there are basically just 4 path effects. There's a good version and a bad version. So for example, you can use path effects to get items off of different characters. The thief lets you steal them, which is a percentage-based chance of getting it. The merchant lets you buy them, in which case you purchase it. The thief's generally better than the merchant because it doesn't cost you anything. However, there's ones which are just objectively a lot worse, such as Interrogate and Inquire, I think it's called, where you inquire with a person and you just talk to them about how they are, and it's beautiful. And I even have a quote from one of the characters that I inquired, and I wrote down the entire thing. It is so cool.
Oh.
Because there was one point where I inquired with Guard Dog, age 6. One might describe this dog from Everhold as the embodiment of canine virtue, given the unbridled devotion he has for his master. Woe betide the fiend foolish enough to harm those he adores, for he will fall upon that villain with great vengeance and furious anger. That was me talking to a dog in the game. If that doesn't sell you on it, I don't know what will. But then I picked up another character who has the same effect, but with a chance to fail. And I was just like, well, screw this, that sucks. But apart from that, the game's good. And the other game I've been playing is Nier Automata. Which is
I was wondering how you're going to say it.
I have two. I'm going to end on a different one as well. I already planned this out. Come on.
I'm surprised at you, Sarge, for playing this kind of game.
I'm surprised as well, but I'd heard good things about it. I needed stuff to play on my console because I can't have a PC on for very long. So I gave this a try. I'm now 20 hours in and I have got 5 of the endings.
Wow.
Yeah, it turns out I'm quite good at it. Like, it's pretty good. It's a good game. It is in third person, which immediately gives it, like, negative 10 points in any rating. But apart from that, it's pretty cool. It's got interesting characters. The story is compelling enough for me to keep going. The upgrade system is simple, but I like it. The side quests are well written. It's a decent game, and it's got a lot of variety to it. There are some things which I hate about it. Twice early on, I managed to get myself into areas where I could not get out of and lost in total about an hour's progress. Because I couldn't, like, just teleport away or anything. I was literally just stuck in a hole for half an hour with no way to get out, which pissed me off a lot. But apart from that, when you're kind of following the game and doing what it wants you to do, it's a lot of fun, and I've been enjoying it.
Oh, good.
And, yeah, it's solid.
Nice.
Yeah. I don't know when it was that I played Nier, but definitely fun to play something that's Square Enix and Platinum collab, because Platinum always does action really, really, really well.
Yeah.
But having that Square Enix RPG-ness on top of it, Yoko Taro especially, or is that his name? The director of the Nier universe, basically. You're in for a crazy story. That's for sure. It's gonna be bonkers.
Yep. I did already know a little bit about it, so I was able to pre-predict a lot of stuff. Is the only complaint I have. I do think it's something that's worth going into with less knowledge.
Yeah, I agree with that, actually.
Although a few things it does broadcast so openly that you're going to work out some of the stuff.
It does. And yeah, because if you have any prior experience with like the Drakengard games or the first Nier, like you'll have a lot of the stage kind of set despite the huge difference in time between those games and Automata. So because they all kind of tie together in some way.
Yeah. Nier Automata. She's lovely. Give her a chance.
Yes.
And that's it.
Well, cool.
Right on.
Bye, everyone. It's hot. I'm logging off. Subscribe and stuff.
And that's it. That's the outro. Thank you, Sarge.
It's alright. I really need to open my window.